Hi guys, you're welcome back again to my channel. My name is Achibola, and today I'm going to be teaching you on how to make this beautiful two-piece set. Yes, this is a crop top with a mini skirt with exaggerated sleeves. And if this is what you would like to learn, kindly watch to the end. And before we go into the main nitty-gritty, the main course of this tutorial, I would like to welcome my first timers in the house. Thank you so much for not just stopping by alone, but also subscribing to this channel. And I am very, very sure that we're going to have a very wonderful ride as we go on together in this sewing journey. And as well as the old subscribers, thank you so much for sticking by. And let's go straight into the tutorial. These are the items we'll be needing. Needing bias tape, tape measure, scissors, zippers, two zippers in matching colors. We'll be needing our chalk for marking directly on our fabric. We'll be needing the ruler. We're needing our beautiful print as well as lining. And the lining was just an optional thing as well as our pin cushion. So I have here 3 yards of this bright colorful material, and we're going to start with the top part of the two-piece set. We'll be drafting the blouse part. So here I am folding. I'm going to fold my Ankara into two. Make sure that you are folding in a way that the wrong side is facing you, because you do not want to mark directly on the right side of your fabric. So I'll be folding using the largest measurement of my body here, and which is the bust measurement. I'll be dividing that by 4, and I'll be adding extra 2 inches in order to know the exact fold I'll be needing. So after doing that, I'll be using my tape measure. I'll be running the starting line from the top here, the edge. This is where every other measurement will be taken from. And from there, I will be marking the total length of the top plus 2 inches for sewing and hemming allowance this way. And I'll be ruling that out with my ruler. After doing that, I'll be putting in my neck width shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus half inch, and from there I'll be marking my uh, shoulder to bust measurements. Then I'll be ruling that out with a straight line this way. And after doing that as well, I'll be putting the exact measurements I used for my shoulder measurements this way, and I'll be ruling that out. So the next thing I'm doing now is to put in my neck width measurement. I'll be using 3.5 inches for my case, and the depth as well. I'll be using 3 inches for the depth because the neckline is not that deep. You can do yours deeper depending on what you're trying to achieve. Now, after doing that, I will be curving it out this way to create the front neckline. Then from that shoulder line there, I came down by 1 inch. That will represent our shoulder slant, and I'll be connecting it this way. So from after doing that, from that slant there, I'll be marking in my chest measurement. The chest measurement is gotten by dividing your bust circumference by 6 plus 1.5 inch. This is where your armhole will be sitting on. And I'll be rolling it out this way. So after doing that, I'll be marking the midpoint from the shoulder slant to the chest point there. And after doing that, I'll be coming inward by half inch in order to create the shoulder slant. So to create the shoulders armhole, the armhole. So from to create the armhole, I'll be putting my bust circumference measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches sewing allowance, or 1.5 depending on what you choose. Then there I'll also be putting the bust measurements there, and I'll be putting the waist measurements divided by 4 plus 1.5 or 2 inches sewing allowance. Now I'll be connecting it this way the curve towards the half inch there and towards the shoulder slant in order to create the curve. You can use your free hand as well as you can use your ruler. Then after that, I'll be cutting it out. We will not be needing any form of dart for this top because the crop top is quite free. It's just loosely fitted. So after cutting it out this way, I'll be trimming off the excess I have there, and I'll be using this to cut out the back. So what I'm going to do is just to impute, I'm going to fold in extra 2 inches on the initial fold this way, and that 2 inches represents the zipper allowance for the back pattern of the top. Now you can go ahead to fold or iron in your 2 inches this way, which is advisable, or you can pin it down. And after doing that, I will be marking in the back neckline depth here on my front pattern. I made use of 1.5 inch this way, but and the same neck width as I have with the front. So for the back armhole, it's not difficult. I'll just connect my curve to the midpoint there, and this is it. After doing that, you can see me trying to fold in my uh, neck zipper allowance, and I have pinned it down this way. So after doing that, I will be placing the front pattern like this on top of the back pattern. Then I will be cutting it out with my scissors. And like I said earlier on, we're not needing that for this style. So basically the bust circumference, the waist circumference measurement for the front will also be used for the back. So I will be cutting off the side this way. I'm just making sure that they are aligned together. Make sure that your front and your back patterns are aligned together. So I'll be cutting out the back armhole first, as well as the back neckline first on both patterns, and I'll be cutting out the shoulder slant out. So after doing that, I'm going to be separating the front from the back. I'll be slitting the zipper allowance open for the back here this way. And after doing that, I will now be cutting out the front neckline this way, and as well as the front armhole this way. So we are about 40% done with the top part of this two-piece set, and I'm just going to cut out small parts, yeah, a small part of the Ankara in order to use it to cut out the front neckline interfacing. I decided not to make use of a bias tape to turn the neckline. Instead, I'm going to be using the exact Ankara to turn the neckline for both the front and the back. So I have folded the piece of fabric into two, and I placed my front neckline on top of it this way in order to trace it out. And I've cut out the front neckline. I just feel that if I do that, it's going to look more professional and neat. And I'll be doing the same process for the back. I'm going to be placing the neckline like this on the piece of fabric this way, and I'll be using it to trace it out. So I'll be cutting another piece of it because the back pattern of the top is in two pieces. So let's quickly draft the skirt part for this skirt. We'll be coming back later to the sleeve of the top, and I'm folding my fabric using my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches sewing allowance, because the hip measurement is the largest measurement in my own case. For yours, it could be your waist. So whatever your largest measurement is, use it to fold your fabric. So I just drew that a starting line, And from that starting line, I will be placing my tape measure 2 inches outward to measure the total length of the skirt plus 2 inches sewing allowance. The 2 inches we left outward is for the waistband of the skirt. So after drawing the line of the for the total length of my skirt, I will still be placing my tape measure the same way 2 inches out to measure my waist to hip length, and I will be ruling that out this way. After doing that, I'll be putting my waist circumference measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch for that and 2 inches for my sewing allowance on the waistline there. Then I'll go down to the hip line. I'll be putting my hip measurement circumference divided by 4 there plus 2 inches for sewing allowance. At the hem area of the skirt, I will be putting the same measurements down there. I'll be using my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 2 inches extra allowance. Now I'll be using the straight part of my ruler to connect it this way, and the curve area, the slightly curved area there of my ruler to connect the hip towards the waist. Then I'll be smoothing it out in order not to create an edgy illusion. So the next thing I will be doing is to mark the nipple to nipple measurement, that is the bust span measurement from the center fold there. So this will be where the darts for the front will be located. So from the waistline there, I came up by half inch, and also from the center fold there, I'm coming down by half inch. I will be connecting these 2 points together using the slightest part of my curve ruler to connect it. So this will become our new waistline for the front, because your waistline is not straight, it is actually curved this way. Now I will just be measuring my that length. I'm using 4.5 inches and half inch on both sides. I will be using my ruler to draw out the dart legs this way. So if you've come this far in this tutorial, it shows that you have been enjoying it, and kindly give this a thumbs up so that others can gain from. So here I am just making sure that my measurements are accurate before cutting it out. I'm going to advise you, if you're drafting directly on your fabric, please do not be in a haste to cut it out. Make sure that your measurements are accurate so that you would you would not start, telling stories that touches the art. So now I'm going to keep that aside. I did not cut out the skirt pattern out because I'm going to be using it to cut out my back pattern for the skirt. So I folded my fabric, adding 2 inches extra for the back because we're going to be having a zipper at the back. So here I am just making sure that it's properly folded and the 2 inches is actually accurate. You can see the way I'm taking my time to place my front on top of the back, making sure that it's aligned properly. This is how we win. Oh, bring down the walls of Jericho. So I'm just going to cut out the fabric this way. And the next thing I'll be doing is I'll be folding in the zipper allowance for the back this way. You can iron it or pin it in place, but I will advise you to iron it so that you can have your zipper crease showing. Now you can see the first line, waistline we drew, the initial one. I'm going to extend it out this way. You can see I'm just running it out so you can see it well. I will be cutting all through from that first waistline this way, passing all through to the curve of the waist there. Then I'll be cutting the sides of my skirts. Everywhere we go, So for reference purpose and ease, when sewing the dart, I will be notching the dart line on both the front and the back, and I'll also be slitting open the zipper allowance for the back skirt in order to make it in to become two pieces. So I'll also be cutting down out the accurate waist line for the front. So here are the pieces of my skirt and the top, and we'll be starting with the top. I've gone ahead to interface the lining for it, and I'll be using the lining to turn the neckline for the front and for the back. After doing that, I gave it a very good press, and I will be placing the back on the front and stitching them on the shoulder line. Now, after doing that, I will be marking my body circumference measurement, that is my bust circumference measurement and my waist circumference measurement. I'll be dividing them into two. But in my case here, in order for me to have equal measurement on both sides, I used my center fold crease as a guideline to impute the quarter of my bust measurement on both sides. And I'll be doing the same on the waistline as well. I'll be putting quarter measurement on both sides using the center fold crease line. So I would be adding 1 inch to my waist measurement as well as the bust measurement, because this crop top is not like body fitted. It is loosely fitted. It has this boxy feel to it, boxy look to it. So I'll be adding 1 inch. You can go beyond that. You can do 1.5, you can do half inch, you can do 2 inches, but beyond that would not have kind of good look to it. So I will be stitching along the line, the front to the back side line this way. I'm also going to hem it, and after hemming it, I'll be installing my zipper, which I've already done. And I am here trying to measure the armhole of the top all round using my tape measure. You can see the way I am measuring it all round from the shoulder seam all round to the other end of the shoulder, towards the shoulder seam as well. So that measurement is what we're going to use in drafting our sleeve. So I folded my sleeve. I used my arm round circumference measurement, and plus divided by 2 plus about 8 inches, depending on how much fabric. And you know, this type of sleeve is exaggerated. It's actually fitted at the bicep area, but when you go towards the M line, it becomes big and wider, and it has this asymmetry attached to it as well at the M area of it. So right now, after rolling my total length measurement plus 1 inch, I'm going to put in my cap height, and this cap height is gotten by dividing your bust circumference by 12 plus 1 inch. Then I'll be marking the midpoint of my total length of my sleeve this way, and that will represent the elbow length, that is from your shoulder to your elbow, in case you do not measure it on your body or your client's body. That's another method of getting your elbow length. Now, after doing that, I'm going to be ruling a line this way, and that is our elbow length. So after doing that, I'll be putting our arm circumference measurement divided by 2 plus 2 inches to it, and that includes our allowance to the sleeve. After doing that, I'll be using my straight ruler to connect this point towards the center fold point like this to draw a diagonal line, and that line I will be looking for the midpoint of it by folding my tape measure this way into two to mark the midpoint of that line. And after marking the midpoint of that line, I'll be going down by half inch like this in order to draw out the curve for the front armhole of my bodies. So I'm just using my tape measure to measure that curve in order to be sure that I am having the accurate armhole that we measured earlier on. If you are not having an accurate armhole measurement, then something is wrong. You have to make sure that it is giving you what it is. So I'm going to be drawing the back armhole like this from the center fold towards the midpoint and towards the edge there. So after looking at the picture, the inspiration picture closely, I realized that if the thickness of the sleeve ends at the elbow area, it's not going to give it a good fitting. So guys, just ignore this step here. We'll just be using that elbow line as a reference point. So I realized that it was not going to work out well. So from the elbow point, I came up by 3 inches there, and I'm ruling a line there that will represent the bicep area of our hand. And from that point, I extended it down towards the M line like an A shape. So that is where our fitness for the sleeve would be instead of the the elbow area. I hope you're getting my point. So at the M area there, I just came up by 2 inches in order to draft the asymmetry design at the M of the sleeve. So I connected it with a straight line towards the side seam of the sleeve, and we are basically done with our sleeve. So I need you to watch closely on how I'm going to cut the curve. I will be cutting the back curve first, and after cutting that, I would also be cutting the asymmetry design line at the M area of the sleeve. Then I will be notching the midpoint of the sleeve this way, and after doing that, I'll be using this piece to cut out the second part of our sleeves. Then after cutting the two parts there, I will be cutting out the front curve line, not on a fold, guys, not on a fold. You'll be cutting it when you open it up. I'll also be using my bias tape to hem the hem line of my sleeve. And after doing that, you can see how it is. I'll be folding it into two this way. Then I'll be using my tape measure to measure out the half measurement of that armhole we measured initially on the bodies. So whatever you get there, you mark it. Then you can see the way I've marked it, and I'm going to extend the line towards the M line. I'm also going to stitch on it. Then after stitching it, it's time to attach our sleeves to the bodies. You see, I have turned my bodies inside out, and my sleeve is already on the right side. So I will be placing the side seam of my sleeve towards the side seam of my body, making sure that the right sides are facing each other. Then I'll be pinning them in place. You remember the notch we made on the sleeve cap area? That notch, I'll be aligning it with the shoulder seam line of my bodies. Then I will be running a stitch all round the armhole, all round. So I'm just carefully pinning it in place so that it will be easy for me to sew it up. So after pinning, I'll be sewing all around, and I'll be doing the same for the second sleeve as well. And we are done with the blouse. I'm going to give it a good press. It's time for the skirt part of this outfit. I've gone ahead to cut out lining to match the exact patterns for the front and for the back this way. And I'm going to start by turning the hem line of the skirt using the lining, as well as sewing the sides of the skirt with the lining using my sewing allowance. So after doing that, I gave it a good press, and as well created a crease line, two crease lines along the that notch that we made earlier on for the front and also for the back piece. And I'm going to be using that crease line as a guide to create my dart. I'm measuring now the dart length as well as the dart width, and I'll be using my ruler to draw out the legs of the dart this way on both sides for the front and also for the back of my skirt. And I'll be taking it to my sewing machine to sew up the four darts. after sewing the darts, this is how it's going to look like. And now the next thing I'm going to do is to impute my waist circumference measurement divided by 2, as well as the hip circumference measurement divided by 2. But I will be dividing mine by 4 because I want to have equal measurements on both sides. I'll be using the crease line at the center fold there as my guideline. So I'll be putting the quarter measurement of my waist on one side, as well as the quarter measurement, the same quarter measurement on the other side. I will be doing that for my hip area as well. You can see I'm just trying to fold my tape measure into two like this, and I'll be putting a quarter measurement on the hip area this way, as well as a quarter measurement on the hip area this way. So I'm just trying to make sure that it is accurate. I'll be putting the same allowance I have on the hip line on the M line as well this way. If you want a pencil silhouette, you can go inside by ½ inch extra or 1 inch extra. So I'm going to use my ruler to connect the hip point to the end point this way, and after doing that, I'll be using the slightest curve of my ruler to connect the waist point to the hip point. And I'm going to repeat the same step for the other side of the skirt, and I'll be smoothing that hip curve area there so that it's not going to be edgy. When that is done, I'll be placing the sides of my back side of the skirt underneath the right side, wrong side face, right side facing themselves. Then I'll be stitching along that created line that we just made. And when that is done, this is how it looks like. You can see that our skirt is gradually coming to life. So for the waistband of the skirt, I will be measuring from one side of my front waistline to the other side accurately, as well as the back area. I will be measuring from one side towards the zipper allowance area. So we'll be needing these two measurements to draft our waistband. As you can see, I have folded my remaining fabric this way, wrong side facing up, and I will be putting in the half measurement of what we got for the front waistline like this from the center fold, and I'll be putting the exact measurement we got for the back waistline here, and I'll be rolling it upward. Remember, I did not divide the back waistline since it's just half of it. Now, from that line, I'll be going upward by ½ inch, and I'll be marking it like this. So I'll be using the slightest part of my cuff to connect that point towards the front waistline measurement like this. When that is done, I will be putting the width of our band from that point. I'll be using 2½ inch, ½ inch for sewing this band to the skirt, and the 2 inches for the width of the band. So I'll be measuring 2½ all through towards the center fold like this. I'll be marking 2½ like this from the baseline of the waistband. So after marking it like this, I will be connecting the dots together using my ruler this way, and we are basically almost done with the waistband. I'll be cutting two pieces of this out. I'll be cutting two pieces of this out this way. And guys, do not forget to label your pattern. please label it so you will not get confused. You can label the down part as bottom and the top part as top. Now when that is done, I'll be interfacing it. I interfaced one part of the band, and that part will be the one that will be facing inside. Then I will be running a stitch at the top part of the band towards the side, from one side all through towards the other side. And this is how it looks like. Here I am just trimming off the excesses. And if you look closely at the side, you see the way I folded one part, the interface part of the band upwards. So I'm just going to notch the edges this way so that when I turn it, it will not look bulky. So you look at the way I folded the interface part, you can see. So I'm going to turn it out, inside out, and give it a good press. After ironing the waistband, this is how it's going to look like. Now I'm going to fold it into two this way to notch the middle of it like this. And after doing that, I'll also be notching the mid point of my skirt by folding it into two equal halves this way. So when that is done, I will be placing the midpoint of my waistband on the midpoint of my skirt. I'll be pinning it all through like this. Like this. Then after that, I'm going to be running my sewing allowance stitch on it this way. When that is done, I'm going to flip it over this way, and I'm going to top stitch it closely to the end like this. And after doing that, this is the final stage of it, where we will get to add our zipper to the skirt. The skirt is not going to be having slit at the back, it's going to be enclosed. Then I'm going to place my zip on it this way, and about 1 inch or 1.5 inches above the end of the zipper, I'm going to mark it this way and stitch the rest downward. Then I'm going to install my zipper. After doing that, this is what you are expected to have. This is the final look of our sewing project. I hope you enjoyed it just as I did, and I hope you're going to give this a try. And guys, do not forget to like, do not forget to subscribe, do not forget to share to your friends, your sewing communities, and see you on the next tutorial. Bye. And also do not forget that I sell fabrics, African fabrics, so do well to patronize. All right, take care of yourselves. Bye.